Hello everyone, next up we have Pre-Time Skip Zoro. Pre-Time Skip Zoro, he's a fun character, but he's a character that I feel has a higher learning curve because he has a sort of momentum-based fighting style, and by that I just mean he kind of starts slow in his strings with faster finishers, and because of that you have to be very conscious of your positioning when attacking, otherwise you can take a lot of unnecessary damage. Alright, so first let's go over his moveset. We have the square string. This is a good example of what I was just saying. He starts kind of slow, but then the ending of the string is really, really good. Overall, it's a pretty good string, if even just for the last part of it. Next we have square, triangle, triangle. This is his launcher, and one of the best things about this is the finisher, which is a really huge crowd control attack. So it's a good way to juggle and get some crowd control finisher so that you can have like a safe landing. Pretty good move. Next up we have square, square. Well, let me get rid of this guy. Okay, so next we have square, square, triangle, triangle, triangle. This string has a really good finisher. The first two hits are really slow, and the first hit in particular, if you're trying to do a juggle combo and you do the first hit, you could potentially lose your combo because the enemies could fall to the ground before you hit them. So you have to make sure the enemy's high enough. Otherwise, you should probably just dash past the first hit and then use the second hit, which is slightly faster, into the final hit. Or sometimes I just skip the whole string to the final hit. It's a good move to throw into the middle of the crowd. Next we have square, 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 triangle. This is a good move to just throw out when you need like a quick attack with a little bit of crowd control and damage. It's not very combo friendly if you want to follow up after without a wall, but it's just a good attack to throw out when you need that quick hard hitting attack. Next up we have square, 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 triangle. This is one of his better combo starting tools because it pops the enemies in the air and you can just kind of chase where they're going to land. And it has a little bit of crowd control in it as well, but I mostly use it for the launch. Okay, now we have the triangle string. Triangle, triangle, triangle. This is a pretty solid string if you do it from like the outside of a mob. It's not that good if you use it when you're standing in the middle of a mob, but if you approach a mob with this string, it's a really good way to deal some crowd control damage. And it has a finisher similar to the square, square, triangle, triangle string. Really good finishing shockwave attack. Next we have triangle, square, square, square. This is one of his absolute best attacks. You can move this around, last for a really long time, and a really strong finisher. This is just a really, really good move. It's one you're going to use a lot, and if you want to combo after it, you can just dash. You can dash before the end and get a combo after. Really good string. It's just it's kind of a string that you can use repeatedly. You could use this string in complete stages if you wanted to. It's just a really good move. You're very safe. You have a lot of combo and crowd control power from it. Next we have triangle, triangle, square. Really, really good string for comboing. And there's a bit of crowd control on each attack in this string. Once you stun a boss, this is a really good string to use on them. A lot of damage with some crowd control. Pretty good move. Alright, next up we have his R1. His R1 is a really interesting move, and it's a really, really important move for his gameplay. The reason for that is because it's a very fast move, and let me just get out of it. First, let me just show this move can charge. It has a few different charge states. So this is the uncharged. Uncharged, it's really not that good of a move. You could use it to kind of split a crowd up a little bit, but damage-wise, it doesn't really deal much damage, and it has a little bit of a startup. So you're not really going to want to use the uncharged version. The most important charge of this version of this move is the max charge. It takes about 30 seconds to charge though, so you're going to want to be able to hold the charge while you're fighting normally. Now, when you're trying to charge this move up, you can't be knocked off balance or you will lose your charge. And what makes this move really good is it gives him that really fast on-demand attack that he needs. Because his moveset can have a kind of slower start, him having this move gives him a really fast option on demand when you have it at max charge. So you can just kind of run into a crowd and just like throw it out for a lot of hard hitting damage. It's really good for combo finishers and stuff like that. And you can also dash cancel it and get a combo follow-up after it as well. It's a really good move for him, and you have to learn how to play while charging it and not get knocked off balance. See, like if you get knocked off balance like that, you will lose your charge, so you'll have to start charging it again. It's also a good move to just kind of throw out as a desperation move. If you just kind of see yourself in a crowd and you feel like something bad's about to happen, you can just kind of let the move go. Preferably if you have the charge version of it. Let me show, for example, using it as a combo finisher. So after the end of this move, after the finisher, oh wow. And you see it kind of freezes time, so you can use it as a combo finisher. Stops the enemies from getting knocked back. Alright, so next is specials. Special 1. Pretty good move. It vacuums the enemies in before dealing a powerful strike. Really good for stunning bosses and really good for positioning them right in front of you. And it has a little bit of crowd control. Pretty good move to just throw out when you need it. Next up, we have this Special 2, which is a really, really, really good move. Special 2 has a bit of crowd control, and it's a good combo tool. It's a good combo starter tool. It will put the enemies in a stagger state. You know, if it doesn't kill them, it'll put a boss in a cripple state. So you can chase after you do it. You can follow up with a full combo, or you can go in, or if they haven't been stunned yet, you'll put them right before being stunned, so you can go in and do a string to stun them. So his Special 2 is a really, really amazing move for initiating bosses with. Okay, so that's it for his moveset. Setups. Zoro's not a super setup heavy character. He's more about spacing and like breaking crowds up with his crowd control on his moveset. So I'm just gonna sort of play. I'm just gonna basically play with him a bit and show how I approach fighting with him rather than talk about any specific setup. So I use triangle, square, square, square. A good way to start any of your offenses against crowds. I'm gonna start charging my R1. Use that finisher on the square, square, triangle, triangle string. Really good for crowds. So now that I have less of a crowd, I can start using his combo tools, since it'll be safer to pull them off. Alright, so let's go to this room down here. Alright, so first I'm gonna approach this room with this finisher so that I can knock some of the enemies down. And then I can go in and kind of clean up with triangle, square, square, square. Gotta watch out for this big guy. These guys are very dangerous. These guys don't want to juggle at all. So pretty much a kind of strategy I was approaching was to kind of thin out the crowds with some of his bigger crowd control moves like triangle square and his square triangle 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 finisher. And then once the crowds are a little smaller, you can run in and use some of his stronger combo tools. So as you can see there, I just did an extended combo utilizing the R1 freeze in the middle of the string. Really good. The R1 is a really powerful tool for him for doing extended combos and combo finishers. Alright, so let's go down here to this last room. We'll use this Kizuna Rush this time. The speed increase from Kizuna Rush helps Zoro a lot. It helps him be a really powerful, much more safer character. So a Kizuna Rush build, I highly recommend Kizuna Rush builds with Zoro. Let me try to show off a combo with this special too real quick. Oh, I stunned him during it. I wanted to show like a stun follow-up. Or not a stun follow-up, but how to get into a stun follow-up after it. Oh, that's pretty much it. I got a little sloppy there, but hopefully you kind of saw that you want to kind of focus on thinning out crowds before you fight with some of his slower moves. Alright, see you guys later.